Hello, Haverhill, and welcome to something new and exciting for all of us here at HC Media and, I hope, all of you. A lot of you have been wondering what happened to the Haverhill Journal. Well, over the past few months, we've brought it into the shop, retooled, reimagined, and reinvented it, and the result is the program you're watching right now. Welcome to the Haverhill Journal Live, where we are bringing you the best of our city with news, interviews, performances, and more. And we're also breaking new ground, because this is HC Media's first series that will be televised live on a regular basis from here at HC Media Studio 101 at Harbor Place in downtown Haverhill. Today, we have New York Times best-selling author Christopher Golden and his son Nick with us. They've got a big event coming up this weekend at the Haverhill Public Library that you won't want to miss, and he'll be telling my co-host, Dave Shultz, all about it. Also today, we're going full throttle into Halloween with a demonstration of the messiest of traditions, the carving of the pumpkin. Creative Haverhill's Jenny Arndt is here to give us some tips and tricks, and master pumpkin carver extraordinaire Justin Gordon is working hard on a pumpkin as we speak. How's things looking over there, you guys?
Looking good, Lindsay. Can't wait for you to see.
Great. Don't show us yet, though. We'll be getting the big reveal at the end of the show. First, we'll start with the latest news. Downtown construction has ramped up over the past 3 weeks, with major building projects going on at the Haverhill Housing Authority and the new Haverhill Heights building. On Wednesday, site work began at Haverhill Heights, a luxury mixed-use development at 160 Merrimack Street next to Haverhill Bank. Developer Sal Lapoli plans to turn the former parking lot into a $30 million 10-story building containing a restaurant, culinary program run by Northern Essex Community College, office space, and housing. An official groundbreaking is expected next month. An emergency replacement of the brick facade at the Haverhill Housing Authority at 25 Washington Square is set to begin. Most of Washington Square Plaza is now closed to the public. There is a pedestrian access way under the scaffolding allowing access to Washington Square buildings. Construction on the Housing Authority will continue through midwinter. Street parking on Washington Square will be limited for the project's duration. It may only be October, but one of the city's most beloved holiday traditions is just around the corner. With little more than a month to go, the VFW Santa Parade is making some big changes to its route by taking a hard left. Event planners have taken a cue from earlier days by reestablishing a portion of the original 1960s route. Instead of starting at Hunking School in Bradford and continuing up Main Street to the old VFW, the parade will be turning left onto Merrimack Street at White's Corner, then turning right onto Emerson Street, where it will end next to the Boys and Girls Club on Bailey Boulevard. That's right, the parade will be passing right by these windows behind me. HC Media is very excited to be bringing you coverage from here at our unique Harbor Place vantage point. The parade begins at 1 p.m. on Sunday, November 18th. So mark the date and come on down to enjoy one of Haverhill's favorite annual events. Election Day is only 3 weeks away, so don't forget to register to vote. Haverhill's voter registration deadline is Wednesday, October 17th. The city clerk's office will be open until 8 p.m. that evening for voter registration only. Early voting will take place this year from October 22nd to November 2nd. To cast your early vote, visit the clerk's office from 8 to 4 p.m. weekdays during that period. Now, if you're looking for something to do this weekend, how about attending a film festival? The Haverhill Film Festival is taking place here in our Harbor Place studio this Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, October 12th through 14th, and will feature independent features and shorts from all over the world. The festival features short films, animation, documentary, and narrative films from local and international artists, and always draws a great crowd of film lovers from near and far. Screening times can be found on HC Media's website or at the HFF website, haverhillfilmfestival.org. We hope to see you there. Now, I'm going to turn things over to Dave, Christopher, and Nick to find out what's going on at this weekend's Halloween Book Festival.
Thanks, Lindsay. I'm joined by Christopher Golden and Nick Golden. Christopher needs little introduction besides being one of Haverhill's most famous citizens, also the best-selling, award-winning author of novels, comic books, video games, screenplays, mostly in the horror fantasy genre. And Nick, you work in the State House as a legislative aide.
I do,
right?
yes.
So you guys have a festival going on this weekend. Can you tell me about it?
Well, this is the 4th annual Merrimack Valley Halloween Book Festival. It's the 3rd one that we've done in the Haverhill Public Library. Authors come from all over the region, but sometimes even further away. Some of the authors we're going to have this year are Owen King, who recently released a novel called Sleeping Beauties with his father, Stephen King, Kelly Braffett, Grady Hendrix, Jennifer McMahon, whose novel The Winter People was a huge hit. So we have about 60 authors and artists this year. It's growing every year, but the most important thing for me about the festival is that it's free. Obviously the books aren't free, although some of us are giving away free books, but it's free to the public. We have panels, we have, so there's programming during the day. People talk about their favorite horror movies, their favorite books, about writing, and if you want to become a writer. But keeping it free to the public has been my number one priority.
Fantastic. So how did you guys get involved in this? How did you get it started?
Well, it's a weird thing actually, because our attic is full of copies of my books. Okay. And some books I have almost nothing of, but I've been doing this for 26 years. I've written over 100 novels, not to mention a lot of other things, and I have a lot of spare copies of certain books, and so do lots of writer friends of mine. So about, a few years ago, I thought, well, we should really have an event around Halloween so we can go and try to sell some of these books, make a little money. And that was sort of the genesis of it, but almost immediately I thought, there's something more to this. There's a prejudice against horror stories, even though everybody loves them in October. The other 11 months of the year, people are like, oh, right. I don't know if I'm interested in that stuff. So I wanted to try to do something that would bring together just readers in general and celebrate ghost stories and New England and Halloween and writing. And so it started from this maybe selfish purpose, and now it's become what I hear from readers and from all these writers who come in. It's become their most joyful day of the year, because the sort of bonhomie is so universal. It's the best day. It's such a great, joyful day.
Fantastic. So love of the genre and love of the library.
Yes, exactly. Yes. The library, we'll talk a little bit about the library.
Sure, it's a great opportunity to celebrate the library. I mean, one thing, he's very, very kind and humble. He doesn't mention 10 to 15% of the proceeds are also going to go to support the Haverhill Public Library, which is such a critical resource in the city. We're so lucky to have such a wonderful staff there.
Absolutely.
They do a great job every year with this in supporting it and making it happen. Getting people in there to support horror literature and reading generally is a great way for people who maybe don't come there often to see what a wonderful library we have.
Right.
And I think that partnership, it builds a great feedback loop where you come in, you pick up your next favorite horror author's book, and then you come back to the library next time to take one out for free. Right. And just so folks know, next Friday night, actually, they're going to have at Maria's a fundraiser supporting the public library that have tickets on sale right now. So if you get out there, it could be a lot of fun to support library just like this.
Go and support the library. And so in addition to that, the one thing I would say, firstly I should say that it's fantasy writers, mystery writers, horror writers, suspense novelists, all of this stuff are all coming together. But these authors come to the Haverhill Public Library, they've never been there before, and they come in and they're always sort of wowed by it. I don't say that disingenuously. I mean, they come in and they're so surprised that we have a beautiful library in this city, and we have the librarian team that we work with, Sarah and Rachel and Liz, are so supportive, and they love this event. And as far as the money that goes to it, 10 to 15% of all of the sales. All the authors who come in are agreeing. This is the thing that I love about it, is they all agree. They're coming to this event, and 10 to 15% of whatever they earn, and Andover bookstores selling books as well, and they agree 10 to 15% of whatever they take in is donated to the library.
That's fantastic. That makes it a great event.
Yeah.
So off the subject of the festival, I have to ask you, Nick.
Yeah.
So what was it like growing up in the Golden household during the Halloween season?
Listen, it's a high holiday for us. It is something we build our lives around in a lot of ways. He's always bringing us together to watch different horror films of all varieties, of all nationalities too.
Okay.
From the classics like The Wolfman and Frankenstein to newer avant-garde European stuff. But it really it's so important to start a tradition of reading early on. He was reading to us from classic European kids' tales, the Gingerbread Man, stuff like that, at a very young age. And there's something creepy to the Gingerbread Man too, it should be said.
It's very creepy.
But we're all big readers. We're all really passionate about things that are creepy, and the house is full of decor, both gothic and Halloween spooky, which I like for both types.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right. So I think just one last question I had
Sure.
to ask you guys. What's your favorite horror movie? I figured a nice way to end.
Oh my
You
goodness.
put him on the spot.
I
with this
know,
one.
that's like
Put him on
just
the spot
picking
with this
one is so hard. I mean, my favorite movie of all time is not a horror movie.
That'll do.
My favorite movie of all time is Blade Runner.
Okay.
The original Blade Runner. But I don't know, my favorite horror movie probably changes all the time depending on what I've refreshed myself with. I think the original Halloween is up there.
John Carpenter,
yeah,
yeah.
the original Halloween, and I'm excited next week the new Halloween
Yes.
comes out. And what's your
Mine,
favorite?
mine. You know what? It's a recent pick, and recency bias might be at play, but Get Out is my favorite
okay.
horror
Oh,
movie.
very nice.
is it
Oh,
Get Out?
excellent
Yes.
choice.
Brilliant. It's tense, thrilling, and it is deeply. It considers a lot of deep questions,
Yes.
while also being really creepy.
Yes,
So,
yes,
it's a big
yes.
fan.
I will say real quick though that I think we're in a new golden age. Every year we have a new great addition to the canon of horror films. And just the last 5 years you've had The Witch, Get Out, Hereditary, It Follows, and The Babadook, all incredible,
Yes.
incredible horror movies.
Yes.
So we're in a prime time.
Excellent. Excellent. Well, thank you guys so much for joining us today.
Happy to be here.
Thanks for coming. So I'm going to kick it back now to Lindsay, who is going to show us some amazing pumpkin carving.
Thanks, Dave. The Merrimack Valley Halloween Book Festival is this Saturday, October 13th at the Haverhill Public Library from 10 to 4:30 p.m. You won't want to miss it. We'll see you there. Now I have come over to this amazing pumpkin carving set extraordinaire. See Justin here to my left? He's been here for about 2 hours just carving away. So Justin, tell us a little bit about yourself and what you're making here.
Oh, I'm Justin Gordon. I live in Groveland. My business, elwindesigns.com, and I carve everything. And this is just a pumpkin that Lindsay called me up and asked me if I'd come down and do for a show here. Sounds pretty cool. So I just did this creepy guy-looking pumpkin for the show.
How long have you been doing pumpkins for?
10 years or so.
Wow.
Yeah.
Now you're a little different here. We're not going to show you yet, but you didn't carve in, like cut into the pumpkin.
No, you just kind of leave them, and they stay intact longer if you don't hollow them out or go through the skin into the inside.
Okay, all right, you guys. Are you ready for this? The big reveal? Okay, Justin, turn it around for us. You can lift it. Whoa,
There you go.
is that not amazing? I have never seen anything like that, Justin. I'm telling you right now. So someone at home, could they do anything like this?
Oh, sure. You just, get some carving tools or these clay loop tools. They work really well, but if they work even better if you sharpen them a little bit. And when you're doing the through holes, you get a nice long knife so you can make it nice and skinny, keep it sharp. Just watch out, they're sharp. And just, big loop tools.
I like
And
it.
do stuff
Chisels,
like that. Yep.
stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And how long would it take you to do something like that?
Take me?
Yeah,
I've been there since 7:30.
that's true. 2 hours.
Yeah.
So,
Do I get paid overtime for this?
see what I can
yeah,
do.
so, about
Yeah.
2.5 hours.
Nice. Okay. Awesome. So, thank you, Justin. This
Welcome.
is beautiful. And what's your website?
elwindesigns.com.
Okay.
And
cool.
now off to Jenny.
Off to Jenny, because he's got to go. All right, Jenny. So Jenny is here to show us some things that might be a little simpler for those of us like me who are not very crafty, not particularly artistic. So show us what we can do in our free time.
Yeah, absolutely. I did the hard work. I was all over Pinterest finding some tips and tricks for the best way to carve your pumpkin if you're not as talented as Justin over here. So the first thing I wanted to show you is this beautiful little light up pumpkin. So Lindsay, can you just flip it over so they can see on the bottom? We actually cut the bottom out of this one. And so that's a trick that I've found is popular now, is to actually cut off the bottom instead of taking off the top of the pumpkin. And the reason for that is, like in this case, I used a power drill and drilled some holes, and then I could insert some string lights in through the underside of the pumpkin and stick them through the holes. And it's just a really nice, neat way, especially if you feel like you're not very artistic, to have a really kind of classy pumpkin.
Cool. Are they battery-powered lights?
They're battery-powered lights, and I would just say make sure you count how many lights are on the string and drill that many holes. That's probably the most important tip I
like
have.
that cutting the top off too, because it makes it look more organic, almost like, you know, it's just glowing by itself.
Yeah. So that's my first tip for you.
They also have nice colored lights over at Home Depot.
Oh, right. You could
Purple,
stick in there.
multicolored.
Yeah, so then the next trick I have for people who don't, you know, like to pick up knives and cut into pumpkins, I have this beautiful white pumpkin, which I got from Rogers Spring Hill Garden Center. They had a great selection. I would definitely recommend checking that out. So I was just looking around my house, and I happen to have this double-sided tape. And so you can do something like this, where you do double-sided tape in stripes. And then I have a 7-year-old girl at home, so there's glitter everywhere. So it worked out perfectly that I just had some gold glitter. You can just sprinkle it over.
Oh, that is so cool.
You know, and shake it off, clean it off, and you get this really cool
Look at that.
effect.
It comes out so perfectly, like it just sticks to the tape. So you have those perfect lines.
Yeah, so if you're not confident painting or cutting into your pumpkin, this is a great alternative. And then, of course, I've got our traditional pumpkin here, but I had to try out probably the best tip I've ever seen. This tip is, if you don't really love to get your hands dirty and scoop out the guts of the pumpkin, I heard that you can take a beater from an electric hand mixer and you can attach it to a power drill.
Wow.
Yep. So what you do is you cut off the top of the pumpkin like you normally would. And then you use this beater, you go along the inside, and it scrapes all of the insides out, and then you can just flip the pumpkin over and dump it out. So I did try it. Unfortunately, I have this like modernized looking kind of beater. This didn't work out so well. You want kind of the old school one like
Right,
your
with the
grandma
really
has.
thick pieces. Yeah.
Exactly. That's going to do a better job of scraping the sides. But it did work. It was kind of cool. I don't think I'll be using that trick just because I actually am kind of one of those weird people that likes the feeling of the guts inside.
It's kind of fun.
Yeah, it's kind of
You know, my kids like to do it. I let them do it. They just go in there and put it in a bowl, and you save the seeds.
Yeah,
Some roast 'em.
absolutely.
Yep.
So then I did just a traditional technique, but what I did was you can actually go online. There's hundreds of free printable designs that you can do to cut your pumpkins. You don't have to do the ones that you get in the grocery store booklet. So I found one for the most famous cat in all the world, Grumpy Cat. And so I don't know if it's going to be very easy for you to see, but I did a Grumpy Cat pumpkin here. And the last tips that I have for you is just how to preserve your beautiful creation. So I want Grumpy Cat to last as long as possible because I'm so proud of how it came out.
Right.
And so I read that there are a few things that you can do to coat the inside of the pumpkin and all the places you've carved out. So you can either use diluted bleach, so dilute some bleach in water and spray your pumpkin every couple days to keep mold from growing. Or you can use petroleum jelly. You can rub that all on the inside. You can also use WD-40, which is a lubricant that apparently has some way to preserve the pumpkin. Or even coconut oil or vegetable oil. You can just spray with cooking spray.
Okay. Have you tried any of those? Do you have a recommendation?
I have tried the bleach in the past. I'm not really great at keeping up with spraying it every day.
Yeah, it's kind of a lot of work.
But I did hear that you could actually, once you've carved it, you can give it a bleach bath for like 3 hours.
Wow.
And that's a little bit more effective than having to remember to spray it every day.
Okay, okay.
There's also a method of pickling. You can pickle the pumpkins, and pickling is a preservative in itself, a process by itself. So you pickle the pumpkin,
idea.
you dunk it, and
And
that
vinegar?
also.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, that's a really good idea. Yeah. How about you don't have to preserve your pumpkins because, like you said, they last a
Well,
long
they'll,
time, right?
they'll last a long time, but the outsides, they will begin to mold in a couple of
Yeah.
days. So what
Yeah,
Jenny
yeah.
said is a good idea.
Yeah, so pickling, that's another great idea to be able to preserve your creations you've worked so hard to make. So
Awesome. Thank you so much, Justin. Jenny, that was so much fun, and now we have these beautiful pumpkins. Can we keep these?
of course, yeah.
You can keep the mess too.
I'll clean up that mess. All right, we're going to bring Dave Shultz out here again. Can I hold the Grumpy Cat?
Yeah,
Okay,
of course.
so everybody can see it. This is what I'm going to sign off with. So, Dave, what do you think?
I love it.
I love it,
I
right?
love it. I could never do that. I could
I
just
know.
do like squares and triangles. That's all
I
do.
know. We'll pull up some photos, too, so you can see it in the dark. Anyway, thanks so much for watching the Haverhill Journal Live, our very first episode here at Studio 101 in downtown Haverhill. I want to thank Justin Gordon, Jenny Arndt, Christopher and Nick Golden, of course, Dave Shultz. I am your co-host, Lindsay Paris, and we will see you again next Actually, in 2 weeks. I'm sorry, we'll see you in 2 weeks where we will bring you more of the best of Haverhill. See you next time.